playing.
About to
Let's
have
get it.
a 2-hour
You know what I'm
conversation
saying? Stop playing.
about
Let's get it.
let's get it, man. Let's get it. They've been waiting for us. It's all my fault. Shout out to everybody this beautiful Sunday morning. Shout out to all the old school Knicks fans out there coming to rock with us, man. We appreciate y'all coming through, hanging out with us.
And
I'm the
being
number one
patient.
chief rocker in Knicks Universe, your main man, Uncle Freezy. I'm joined by the man that is so smooth, he does not require a chaser. I'm joined by the man that is the resident Knicks historian,
Oh,
Anthony
damn.
D. What's good, sir?
Good morning, Uncle Freezy. Good
No,
morning, Nick Nation. We once again we apologize. You know, we was behind the scenes working out some
working
technical
on some stuff.
difficulties and
Yeah.
talking about Al Green and you know what I mean and
Al
all
Green,
that.
man.
What?
Some fifth dimension, some blue magic.
Oh, magic.
Some Tavares.
Alvarez. Stop playing. Stop playing.
Forget about Tavares.
Mm-mm. But
Yes.
out the gate, you know, like we were just saying, like out the gate, Al Green out the gate got like 10 joints.
Yeah. Back to back.
Back to back. To back. When you see, there's the footage with him on Soul Train. When you see him in the big sky hat, you know, the chain down to his groin,
Yes.
and he's doing, I think, was it Love and Happiness he was doing on Soul Train?
Yes.
I can't remember what song it was, but that was a far cry from Reverend Al.
Yes.
Reverend
Al
Al. From Reverend Al and the Hot Grits. And, you know, being that we in Women's Month, women, please, I hope y'all not throwing grits on men anymore. Like,
Yeah.
seriously. Like, seriously.
Chicks on TikTok talking about they found something. I throw oatmeal on it. What? That's still a
Like,
thing. What y'all
like,
doing?
is that, like, what are we doing here? It's not worth the prison sentence.
It's
You know what I'm
not.
saying?
It's not.
Like, it's just not. It's not. It's really
Right.
not.
So,
So
yeah.
if you can't work it out, you know, as Al
Yeah.
said, how do you mend a broken heart?
Right. If you can't put on some Tyrone Davis, let's work.
You know, we've yet to figure out fidelity.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth of it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you know, with your own individual relationships and so forth, you know what I mean? It's hard to break up from someone that you love.
Right.
And that you've spent years investing in and so forth. And you may see when it's over, somebody else comes in your space,
right,
and they may be reaping the benefits. See, that's always what it is.
You're right.
You know, someone else comes in your space and you looking, what?
Why are you better after the breakup? Why can't you do this when we were together? Why can't we just throw on the OJs and cry together?
You know what I mean? But it's sometimes it's you know, you're here for a season.
Right. Right.
You know, and you know, your season is just your season.
Right.
For me, I've always wished people well.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like that. What's my dude? The old cowboy, Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
To all the girls I've loved before.
Yeah.
Who've traveled in and out my door. I'm glad they came along. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here for you. I was here for you. I'm always going to be here for you. But when it's over, it's over. So we don't need to go there. But anyway, before we take them down this track of...
See, but you set the scene. See, that's what I'm saying. When I describe to people what old school Knicks says, you bust in with a reference to the early 70s, right? And the title of the show is Willis Reed. Like, we're going to talk Willis Reed. So whether it was intentional or accidentally, the scene is set. Right? The backdrop is set for us to have a conversation about Willis Reed.
Absolutely. Rest in peace again to Willis Reed, the captain of the New York Knicks.
Right.
Played only with one team, which is something that's not heard of anymore. 10 ferocious years.
Right.
Of giving it all he had.
Give it all you got.
Like, remember that. Like, Willis is, you know, he retires at age 32.
Yep. Yeah.
10 years. In today's game, that's unheard of. You're a journeyman until they rip the uniform off of you.
Right.
At 32, he had played so much and given it his all, and that was just it. And he had led the Knicks, to their only championships. But we're not going to talk about the shame of that at this moment.
Right.
But he was, the guy, not just an enforcer, but as the title of it says, the captain.
The captain.
Right. And I went back and I looked up the technical Webster's definition of the captain, which is basically the commander,
right,
the leader, and that was him. And his career in the 1969-70 when the Knicks win it, he's All-Star MVP, Finals MVP. He has the most
league MVP,
and he has the most iconic moment, which is just an entrance.
Yes.
Which if you watch, because I watched it a few times, everybody's playing it over the last, because I want to say with respect to all of the media,
homage. Yeah, they do homage.
The homage that, and it starts with that. When you see Willis walk in, it's almost like he has a white tuxedo on.
Yes.
And he's flowing as he's walking through. And when he comes out, he's not hobbling when he's walking out.
Right.
So all of the Lakers are like
shook. They saw ghosts. Yeah.
And these are three of the group. They're on the top 75. Three of the greatest ball players to ever play the game. Yes. And Willis shook their foundation.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Especially Wilt. Right. And there's no bigger Wilt fan as far as statistical data than myself.
Right.
Because he's not of my era. But his numbers, it's just ridiculous.
Right.
And someone reminded me of when Willis got hurt, and how important Willis gets hurt in game 5, right? And you would think once Willis got hurt, if you see the picture, Willis is on the court, writhing in pain.
Crying. They're crying. Yep.
You see the teeth grinding,
yep.
right? See the teeth grinding. The Lakers are unable to take hold of the series. Because in a 7-game series, that's going to go 7. Game 5 is the most important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Game 5 is the most important up until that point because it puts you in that.
Yeah, the winner generally, for the most part, the winner of Game 5 in the back and forth series is the team that only needs to win one more game, right? Right. Yeah, generally, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, in a 7-game series, you win Game 5. Everything else is final death.
Yeah.
Sudden death. You have to win, or else you're going home.
Right.
For the team that only has 2 wins.
Yep.
And to Wilt's detractors, he doesn't finish them off.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
He doesn't have a good Game 5. And I'm listening to some of the OGs that was there at the time just over this past week. They're like, yo, Wilt didn't even touch the ball.
No.
After Willis gets hurt. In Game 6, Wilt comes out and drops 45 and 28.
Yes.
Just think about that. 45 points, 28 rebounds, God knows how many assists, God knows how many blocks.
Yes.
He just utterly dominates the Knicks.
Yes.
And then, Willis comes out of the heavens in his white, what's, like I said before, it looks like a white tuxedo.
It's a beautiful, man.
It's just a beautiful scene. When you hear Marv Albert, and someone said this, the microphones are horrible.
Yes.
And the fans are roaring. And you just see Willis just kind of just strolls in.
Yep.
And comes on the court. and Wes, who's the NBA logo.
Yep.
Wilt, who is all-time everything statistically.
Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor, who is another superstar player that, in NBA circles is hardly talked about. They're all shook.
Yes.
But in particularly for Wilt. In particularly for Wilt. Okay. And I kind of mentioned this last week about, when playing against people who are hurt or whatever.
Right.
Willis is hurt. I need that ball every time down. Okay? I'm going to send him back into the locker room. If I'm Wilt. Just from speaking from a Lakers perspective and a Wilt perspective, okay? I'm going to send him back into the locker room. Okay? Because why? I'm Wilt. And for some particular reason, Goliath that day turns into the small man.
Yes.
He really is shook. I heard someone say that he was spying on Willis, in the tunnel.
Right.
Yeah. So you already knew he was going to play.
Right.
Or you had an inkling that he's going to play. But the mere fact that you were worried that a one-legged man was going to make an entrance took you out of your game.
Yep.
Totally psyched you out, which is one of the reasons why Wilt is not held in the esteem that he should be, as far as just a pure, all-time great top 1, 2, 5, 7, wherever you want to place him.
Right.
Okay, wherever you want to place him, but he's in that. He doesn't go past 5 in my eyes.
No.
Okay, he doesn't go past 5 in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just statistically, that's just Goliath. But when it came to that on court, it says something about that, and it says something about when you're David and you're playing a small ball lineup and Walt, and we hear a lot about Walt, but let's take a look at Dave DeBuscher's numbers in that game. Buscher had a great game. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Willis only hits 2 shots.
The first two.
Quick. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
Bang, bang. But he's the epitome of a captain. And as I was making, during the week, because we talk about, when we're going to prepare for the show and so forth. And I'm thinking about captains throughout the annals of New York sports history and so forth. And the Derek Jeters, the Thurman Monsons, the Mark Messiers, the Willis Reeds.
Yeah.
These are the guys that, at least, not Willis per se, but everybody else I just mentioned, these are the guys that I saw. These are the guys that I idolized as far as team play and what you're supposed to do as a leader, as a captain of the team, and pulling along the team, and everyone can just look to you. When I heard Walt talking about, what it meant for him, he said that on his arrival to New York, it was Willis who picked him up.
It was Willis who picked him up.
He was an hour late.
Yeah, of course.
So Willis who picked him up. Willis who took him out. Willis got him a date. Willis got him a suit. Willis.
Yeah, and not just because it was Clyde, but for all rookies. This is a routine.
All rookies.
Yeah, this is yeah. And so the thing that I want to mention too is this, right? If you're the Lakers and you see Wilt in Game 6, and you don't think Willis Reed is going to play in Game 7, even if he does and he's hobbled, you still feel like you can win by 15 or 20, right? Y'all like, no, I don't like Dom Perignon champagne. I like such and such champagne, right? This is a Lakers team that, remember, was repeatedly beat by the Celtics. So for them to get their championship, get their hands on this championship trophy, remember, because they lost in 69 to the Celtics.
In Game 7.
Right.
That's
right.
Russell's last year.
Right. And so you think you're finally getting over the hump for real now, right? Because the Knicks' best player is hurt, right? And for the most part, the Knicks' best players are small. Stallworth, Royden, Barnett, Cassie Russell,
the Busher,
Clyde Frazier. Everybody's small. Who's going to guard Wilt in Game 7?
Nobody,
right? And right before, and this is right before tip. This is right before tip. Knicks fans are like, yeah, we had a good year. As long as, what y'all doing after this? This is what I'm imagining the conversation is, because you still gonna go to Game 7 because it's the NBA Finals at the Garden. But me and AD probably would have been like, bro, what you want to eat, some barbecue after this? You know what I'm saying? We probably leave out of here end of the third quarter, go get something to eat. You know what I'm saying? This is probably, you know what I'm saying? Because
it's over.
Keeping it.
It should have been over.
Keeping it a buck. Come on, man.
It should have been over.
And then, so you going over dinner plans, and all of a sudden, and the announcers are talking like, yeah, Will had dominating game, but there is Willis Reed, and then the concert lights all dim and beam on Willis Reed, who's there in his beautiful white warm-up uniform with all the indoor lights all on Willis Reed. And the Garden, and my uncle said that you have never heard Madison Square Garden as loud in that moment. It's the loudest the Garden has ever been in its history. The only thing close is Stark's dunk on Jordan. They were like, they thought the Garden was gonna fall down and crumble to pieces.
Yes.
Right. And so now it's Willis Reed up there looking like Superman. And the Lakers are like, oh shit, I thought he wasn't playing. We up here making champagne plans. And there is Willis Reed. And the Garden erupts, and it stays in a fever pitch until halfway in the first quarter. They don't get quiet. Like the Garden fans, the fans are like the sixth man. For a quarter, Willis Reed wound up going 2 for 5 or something like that, right? But he hit his first 2 shots, right?
Something like that.
But that's all we needed.
That's all they needed. That's all they needed, because they were worried. When you hear that he was given this shot to his leg with this 12-inch needle. So we're talking about things in sports medicine
in
at
his
the time.
hip socket. Yes,
in his hip socket.
Jeez,
and
bro.
it probably was a cortisone shot.
Probably.
It probably was a cortisone shot, because that's probably as much numbing, type of drug that they had at that time.
Right.
So it's the equivalent to Mick going, to Rocky going, butt me, Mick. Butt me.
Right.
Butt me, Mick. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no pictures of this.
Right.
Because it probably was against, the rules for that type of, procedure. But we're chartering new territory. And it's New York. It's the Lakers. It's the two biggest, it's coast to coast, the two biggest teams in the, market-wise.
Right.
You were going to do whatever you had to do just for drama. Just for the mere fact that he said he wanted to play. Because the doctors are probably telling you, Willis, it was good, baby. You had a good year.
AD, and I'm here to tell you that moment solidified the Knicks' identity forever. That moment. Because before that, nobody remembers what kind of team we was before that Willis Reed moment. No, nobody in the chat, everybody I talked to, even the old heads, even my uncle. My uncle will be 85 in May, right? Talking about the Willis Reed moment. He like, yo, we trash Sometimes we veteran teams, sometimes we had young teams that couldn't figure it out. But we wasn't that until that moment.
Until that moment.
That moment defined who we are as a franchise.
Well, I'm gonna give you the moment, which as doing my research over the years and so forth. Here's a name that Knicks fans probably are not super familiar with: Walt Bellamy. Okay.
Yep.
Take a look at Walt Bellamy's career numbers. It's like 21 points and I think almost 14 rebounds. I believe he played like 13 years or 14, right. Something like that.
Right.
Those are dominant numbers.
Right.
Your rebounding is so good that even at the end of 12 years, you're still averaging almost 14 rebounds per game. It's unheard of in the modern day center. As he gets older, he's not going to average that. Okay. Right. So Walt Bellamy was a big time center. Right. Willis is the power forward.
Right.
Willis was not a power forward.
Willis was not a power forward.
You see, he may not have been 7 feet. He may be just a shade on the 6'10", but he was not a power forward. And Red Holtzman and the Knicks management at that time realized that, in order for us to make the next step, okay, and I want you to follow me here because I'm going here with how he's ascended to being a captain, okay, just who he is. They make the trade. Willis, somewhere in his first, I think the second or third year, wipes out the Lakers. Like literally, Willis knocked out 8 Lakers.
Yes, and 2 by accident.
Well, it was they jumped up, they stood up. So you got to
he pulled his hand back and knocked out 2, threw a punch, and I remember that.
You got to get this work. You jumped up. You tried to stop me, mind you. Right. Willis is a country boy to his heart.
Right.
Willis worked in the cotton fields.
Yes.
So he country strong.
Right.
He probably never lifted a weight, did a push-up in his life. He's just naturally country strong.
Right.
You out there with a plow.
Right.
Okay? And people don't even know what a plow is today. So let alone you had a plow and a harness and you out there with a donkey and
right.
And you making that work and you the only one pushing and you gotta do like a what an acre of land is, let alone 10 acres of a land.
Right. And
you got to get this done before the day is out.
Yeah.
And this is every day.
Every day.
I don't need to do jumping
Just
jacks.
Dawn or
doing all of that. I don't need to do jumping jacks doing all of that. Calisthenics? Nah, I got my calisthenics. It was out there in the field. So you imagine that kind of whirlwind being unleashed in a fight. When I heard he said he was more mad at his teammates because they tried to hold him back. All right, because he said in another game somebody hit him with a bottle or something like that.
Yeah,
and he couldn't. He had a Ron Artest moment, and he couldn't. But he couldn't get to them. Can you imagine a Willis in the Palace moment? That's basically what happened. No. Willis cleared out the whole lake. And Willis would have cleared out like 10,000 fans. Because that's the kind of man, the ferocity he brought to the team. If he was your guy, he's your guy. If he tells you, Clyde, Pearl, y'all got to get those deep rebounds. For people who don't know the deep rebound is, a deep rebound is anything from the middle of the lane further extended, further out. That's your area out there. Y'all got to get those them loose deep rebounds. That's you. And if you're not getting those, we got a problem.
Right.
You see those rebounds that Quickly gets, that Josh Hart gets?
Yes.
Those are deep rebounds.
Yes.
Okay. So a player like that, he wants that kind of commitment because that's what he gave.
RJ used to get those before he signed his extension. Yeah.
Woo! We're gonna go there.
No, I'm just
We gotta go
I'm
there.
just stating
Fine.
that was for information purposes only.
That's for
That's
information purposes.
Yeah,
Purposes.
yeah.
So that's what a captain, the true sense of a captain. You know, like I said, I saw all of these guys come, you know, and grow into being a captain. Willie Randolph was also a captain at one point of the Yankees.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was co-captaincy, him and Ron Guidry or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
But it was.
Y'all remember Willie Randolph for the Pittsburgh Pirates? Anybody remember that? No, nobody remember.
Yeah, they made that trade, and you know they pulled it because people. But Willie's from New York, but people, and he was a Met fan originally. But people think the Yankees drafted him. Nope.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
You know, he's from. So he becomes a captain. Jeter becomes a captain, but there's a certain responsibility when you have that C on your chest, Freezy.
Right.
Okay. There's a certain level of composure. Clyde spoke to this the other night, and I know you know where I'm going. Okay. Right. So I'm already there. So we're going to get there. Clyde said in his career, he had never, ever received a technical.
Right.
Clyde played like 12, 13 years. Clyde is 7-time all-defensive player. If anybody's going to get a technical, it's someone who plays defense. Because why? It's the nature of that. You rough, you tough. Right? He'd never gotten one.
Right.
The original theme of this was Captain.
Right.
The miscasted leader.
Right.
From Willis to whoever.
Right.
Julius Randle technically is the captain of this New York Knicks team.
Yeah.
Someone should walk in there and rip the C off of his jersey. Okay? And so many of you, and I know what you're going to tell me, Freezy. Relax. It's one game. It's 2 games.
We got to relax, bro. We got to relax.
We got to relax because Julius has had such a very nice season. He's led us to this point. Now he's an all-star. He's a malcontent. Okay? He's a prima donna. Okay? He's someone that when the pressure is on, it's every freaking March.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, it's something. I heard somebody yesterday, well, we don't know what's going on in at home. And
no, I didn't say that.
No, not you.
I said
but I heard someone say that. Well, we don't know what's going on at home. And, you know, something could be going on, and Knicks management know what's going on. And really? Every year?
Nah, man.
So every March he has something going on.
Right.
Every March he has something going on. To where you forget about the coach. He washed his hands. I saw that man wash his hands of the situation several times.
Yep.
Literally.
Yeah.
Can't stop him. He's just gonna do what he's gonna do. Throw the ball up. Come back out. No discipline. It's Animal House all the way. What are you saying to the rest of the team who's watching this dude with a C on his chest, acting like anything other than a captain?
Right. I don't feel comfortable even talking about Randall and Willis Reed in the same show. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, I love Randall, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I love Randall, but when it comes to like certain guys, like don't talk to me about scorers and Bernard King. Bernard King deserves a show by himself. You know what I'm saying? Like I know AD and I parse participles on Bernard King on where on Mount Rushmore he belongs, right? But we both believe Bernard King belongs on Mount Rushmore. You know what I'm saying? Like AD might feel like he's the third or fourth best Knick, and I feel like he's somewhere between 7 and 12, but we still believe he's up there. Julius Randle and this mess, bro. Randle, God. Bro.
But it speaks to the point of how the Knicks got to their championship. They had to move out Walt Bellamy, get the Busher.
Yeah, to get David DeBuscher, yeah.
In order for them to rise.
Right.
You see? They're going to have to move out Julius Randle. Right. I know you Randle stands, you know, it's like the beehive with Frank. You know,
the Frank hive.
It's now the Randle hive.
They over there in Dallas. They in Dallas talk about Frank should be on a logo, bro. These Frank fans are crazy. Frank Ntilikina should be on the Mavericks logo. Y'all crazy. Y'all need to get over yourselves, man.
Yeah, because you know, fans sometimes when I hear them, and this is partly why sometimes while before the show, you know, before the Sunday. I do a lot of listening, but I don't do a lot of appearing, you know, to come on because I can't do the blind witness thing. I just can't.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You know, your child can't go into the kids' party and beat up everybody, and it's like it's not his fault.
Everybody was having fun. No, they wasn't having fun like that.
They was having fun before your kid got there and started biting everybody.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? Everybody's having fun.
Hey, and let me ask this. Is Willis Reed a top 10 center of all time?
No.
I gotta say yes.
No.
So
no.
Is Willis Reed
and that's no disrespect
top 20 center of all time?
You said top 20?
No, I just changed it.
Top 20? Yes.
Is top Willis 10? Reed a top 20 center of all time?
No, I would put him in there, top 20. I'd slide him in there.
He's a 7-time All-Star.
Correct.
5-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year, League MVP, All-Star Game MVP, 75th anniversary team, 2 times Finals MVP, All Defensive Team, every Hall of Fame
accolades,
all the stuff, and mind you, he sacrificed his offense so that the team could win championships.
Yes,
right. We all know we had a Bill Bradley did it, Pearl Monroe did it, Clyde Frazier did it, Dave DeBuscher was a 3-time All-Star, so he did it. Everybody sacrificed their offense and shared the basketball because winning is more important than personal accolades, and then they wind up getting the personal accolades anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Because you know. To the point that we talked about last week, you know, as far as how important is a championship, who's it more important to, the fans or the player? Remember, we talked about that last week.
Right.
Those guys from that point, they weren't getting a whole lot of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a $200,000 contract for them back then, that's a great deal of cash.
Right.
You know, for them to get a raise. I've heard Clyde talk about this. When he went to negotiate, he goes into negotiate with Red Holtzman. Red is the GM.
The coach, yes.
Red is the coach, the GM, the trainer, the this, the that. Yeah. He wants some more money, and Red is like,
yeah.
He's like, yo, Red, you're just my coach like 5 minutes ago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we go from coach to when you're going to tell me, yeah. But Walt, he didn't get out there on defense a couple of times, but I'm 7 times. Well,
you know,
because it's now he's now the chief negotiator, so they didn't get a whole lot of money back then.
Right.
See what I'm saying? That's the difference. And Willis played his hardest to try and help a team define who they became. And it just so happens that all his accolades came with that.
Right.
but it was about championships for him. So that's the difference. And
Let
that's
me.
hold on a second. Can you imagine Willis or anybody, not even Willis, any other player on the team having that kind of an outburst and Willis not go over there and yoking somebody up?
Right.
You know, can you see Randall turning to Willis and telling Willis, get away from me?
No.
It's gonna be fisticuffs.
Yes.
To Quickly's credit, Quickly's the only one that kind of like ran up there and was like, hey, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Like, come on, bro. Stay in the moment. Come on.
Bro, stay with me.
Yeah.
And what did you could see the menacing look in his face that he's talking to Quickly and he's giving him such a, get away from me kind of deal, and no one can talk to him. Can you imagine Red Holtzman letting that go down?
Well, no.
Tibbs as a coach, I'm like, I may not always agree with him, his strategy and stuff like that, but I kind of always had respect for him as someone to galvanize and play, and he plays, teams play hard and all of that good stuff. But you're watching your best player implode in March again. The third time on your watch in March again, and you have no solutions. You're giving me excuses. I mentioned this before, and I want to just slide in this because we're in the topic. Anthony Mason was a key contributor to the 90s Knickerbocker team. That team, the 1994 team that went, to almost to great heights.
Okay.
They suspended him the last week of the season.
Right, that's the point that I was getting at. Yes.
He almost got left off the playoff roster.
Right. Yep.
When he was told not to come to the Garden, he's walking around in Rangers games, him and his boys with Ranger uniforms on. They told him not to come to the Garden.
Right.
He buys a ticket as a fan anyway and is walking around high-fiving and doing what he does.
Right.
But Riley kept a ship. It's such a tight ship. The players had to go to him and say, nah, we need him.
Right.
But he was close to not making it because they had enough of his antics.
But he wasn't even the hottest of unpredictable hotheads back then. Starks was the hottest of the. Starks is similar to Randall. Right. Bro, I saw Reggie Miller getting that dude head so bad on a Saturday afternoon.
Give me 5 seconds, Freezy.
Okay. I'm gonna hold that right there. But I want to, while AD is out, I'm gonna show y'all something. The reason why I think Willis Reed is maybe top 10. I have a website that has the rankings here. Right. So Hoops Hype, which is reasonably reputable, right, has a top 10 centers. This article is AD, I think the article is from
Hoops Hype
this year. Yeah, it's from this year. This is where this is how they have centers: Kareem, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Moses Malone, David Robinson,
hell no,
Pat Ewing. This is where this list gets weird.
Mikan got like 6 championships with Minneapolis.
Right. But who opposed him?
That's not his fault.
I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was, bro. But what I'm saying is there were guys up here on this list. I'm going to show you the guys that are up here on this list, right? All right. Kareem played against Willis Reed. Bill Russell played against Willis Reed. Wilt Chamberlain played against Willis Reed, right?
Okay.
Then Shaq, you got Shaq here. He played against Olajuwon. Olajuwon and Shaq played against David Robinson.
Right.
Those 3 played against Patrick Ewing,
Right.
right? And then you get George Mikan.
Okay.
At 9. Who did he play against? You don't know. You don't know. Even in this picture, he is the tallest person on the floor, right? At 10, they have Bob McAdoo,
who's more power forward than center.
More jump shooting, powerful, more. I'm not gonna say Chris Bosh-ish.
The person who's guarding him is gonna be on that list too.
Yeah, Dave Cowens.
Dave Cowens.
Yes. Yeah, he'll be on this list right below, right? But number 10, they have Wes Unseld. And see, this is where the list has the bias to it. Wes Unseld. And I know they won a championship. Listen, I know they won a championship. And you know who that is guarding him? Is that Jack Sigma? That might be Jack Sigma guarding him right
I
there.
Can't tell from right
there.
It
looked like it. Yeah, he wearing number 43. That's Jack Sigma.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But from the old heads though, you know, I've often heard that Wes and Willis was like boom, boom, neck and neck. They got Joker up there.
They got Robert Parrish ahead of Willis Reed, bro. Willis Reed is ranked 14th on this list.
Well, I said he was top 20.
No. I'm not. No, I'm not disputing you, bro. I'm disputing the national narrative. You got Robert Parrish up here. Robert Parrish. You got Jokic would be better than Willis, right? 2-time MVP. Wes Unseld. I know that, and I know Wes Unseld and Willis Reed are the same type player, right? I know that. I know they're the same type player.
Willis is a better scorer. His numbers are better offensively.
Right. But you get undersized hustle guy where Kareem was prototype size guy with you know what I'm saying, the ability to get his own shot. And
where's Bob Lanier?
Where is Bob Lanier? Let's scroll down. Where's Bob Lanier, right? Let's see if Bob Lanier is on this list.
He has to be on that list.
He should be next. Dwight Howard over Bob Lanier. Okay.
No, that's the travesty.
Dave Cowens. Yep, I knew Dave. Bill Walton.
Walton. Okay.
All right. Artis Gilmore.
No, Gilmore. Gilmore's a lot more ABA. You know, early 70s, but Gilmore. You know, I remember them. I remember, you know, when I was still a shorty. When San Antonio finally got him, and they thought that he was going to be the linchpin to help them get him over.
Yep.
Is that Nate Thurman? Okay.
Nate Thurman being guarded by Kareem.
I've heard, you know, a lot of, you know, the old heads would tell me that he was like the best defensive center to ever play.
Yep. And a lot of people say he was strong as an ox. You couldn't move him. Offense or defense, you couldn't move Nate Thurman. He don't look like it. They say so he was
I'm gonna go with their word with that. But top 20. Did Kembe Mutombo better than Bob Lanier? Are we serious?
That's the top 20, bro.
Did Kembe's not even better than Alonzo Mourning?
No, he's not better than Alonzo Mourning, bro.
You know, Bill Walton's not better than Alonzo Mourning. He has his championships, but he has a short span of time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh. That's why I was saying when you
Dwight
look at
Howard is not better than Alonzo Mourning.
No.
Wow. Yeah, that's a fallacy. I'm done with that list. I'm done with that list.
That's why I'm saying that's why I'm saying, man, the narrative about Willis Reed, man, is crazy. In my mind, the Knicks have at least 2 top 15 centers of all time. At least 2.
One is 14, one is 6.
Right.
They do. But that right there, that was hard. Wow, Dwight Howard better than, and that's a young man, you know, that just refused to take the game seriously.
Yeah. It was too easy. It was too easy for him.
He just refused it. He just, you know, it's kind of like Meadowlark Lemon. You know, he should have been a Globetrotter.
He should have been a Globetrotter.
No disrespect to Meadowlark Lemon, you know, and the Globetrotters and all, because I love the Globetrotters. You know what I mean? I grew up, I've seen them in Madison Square Garden.
Yep, that's how I
Yeah,
became a Knicks fan because of
yeah.
Globetrotters.
And no disrespect to them, because they made their artistry of how they handled the ball, and
Curly
just
Neal, oh
Curly
man,
Neal and those guys, and Goose, and the
yeah.
way how that they had you remember the Globetrotters and Scooby Doo?
What? Yeah, I remember
The
that.
Globetrotters and Scooby Doo,
I remember that.
they had like an episode or two. They had their own cartoon.
Yes.
That's how famous they were at one point. The
You know what a
Globetrotters.
stoner? You know what a stoner told me one time? A stoner told me one time that the biggest joke that TV ever played on people was that they convinced people that Scooby Doo was a dog, but Scooby Doo was actually a man. But Shaggy was so high that he thought this man was a dog. He said, and then he was like, "Yo, if you don't think so, if you don't think Shaggy was high, look at how Shaggy acted for the entire series, bro."
Yeah, they were like as great. I used to love that cartoon, but they were
Yeah,
like kind of hippies kind of thing.
yeah.
Shaggy in that green shirt and brown pants. It seemed like he never changed his. It seemed like he
Yo,
never changed
Shaggy
his
was
clothes.
Shaggy was high as a
It,
kite, bro.
it was
And
the Mystery Mobile. Is that what the name of the van was? The
yes,
Mystery, the
and he
Mystery
was
Mobile.
and my man was like, "Yo, if you watch Scooby Doo, sometimes when they open the van door, puffs of smoke come out."
Puffs of smoke. Wow.
And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What?"
For real.
Yeah, yo,
Absolutely for
are they?
real.
Nah, they not. I'm like, they not stoned. Well, and he was like, "Well, who else? Who in the world has a talking dog?" And they conversating,
They absolutely having a conversation.
and
Absolutely.
they always hungry.
Mm. For the Scooby snacks. Mm.
Yo, I don't know, bro. I'm not trying to figure. Hey, man, to me, the Scooby Doo ship has sailed for me. But yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely, but those are just oh my god. I haven't thought
Yo,
about Scooby Doo.
dude said that's the biggest trick people ever played on somebody telling everybody that Scooby Doo was a dog, Scooby Doo was a man.
Everything had a in those 70s times, everything had an alternative meaning.
Yeah.
Puff the magic dragon
Yeah.
living by the sea. Like, what are they talking about?
Yo,
What the fuck are they talking about?
the
Puff the
innuendo was
magic
crazy, bro.
It's exactly. Everything had
Man.
some kind of drug reference. What's my guy? Oh my god, not Joe Cocker. I'm forgetting his name, but he has a record. I've been through the heaven of a horse with no name.
You talking about Croce.
Right, Jim Croce.
Jim Croce. He
Jim
had Bad
Croce.
Boy, B-Boy
Yes,
Brown, and yeah.
yes, right. All of these songs is like it's heavily addiction influence music.
Right.
That's just what the times were. That's just what they were doing at that time.
Yeah.
Everybody rolling around with a Coke spoon on their neck.
Yes.
That's just what it was. That's just what the NBA was.
Bro,
At that time.
It's crazy, bro. How when you look back on it and then you have people's perspective on stuff. I'm like, Scooby Doo was a man. It's like, yeah. I was like,
as you're looking back at it, I can understand.
Dude was that high. I mean, I know it's the alternative drug era, right? You know what I'm saying? When you see all the, it's today is the get high era, right? Back then was, I mean,
today's the get high obvious era.
Yeah, and today is the stimulate your mind era.
Yeah, I don't care era.
Yeah.
Let me go to one of these smoke stores and get a vape, and then end up rolling around in the middle of the street somewhere, and end up in the emergency room somewhere. Not that those cats weren't doing that neither, because people were tripping on LSD all day, every day.
Yes.
You know, so LSD was the whatever the drug, the Molly and the Folly and the whatever they're taking today.
Yeah.
LSD was that for them. LSD and heroin was that for them back then.
Back
But
in the
LSD
day.
in particular,
Right. Right.
you know,
Yeah,
people
man.
were taking acid.
Yes.
You
Bro.
know, to you know, it's crazy. It speaks to how easy we let peer pressure take us over. I've never in a day in my life thought that I would ever push up anything in my nose and my vein.
Nah.
I've been a weed smoker for a long time, right? And
Right.
for Lent, I gave it up again, right?
Right.
Not that I'm a Lent practicing person, right?
Right.
But
Right.
just my own nutrition and health, and you
Right.
know, I'm out here working on it, ladies. Stop playing. I'm single again. I'm out here working on it. Stop playing. But
y'all all notice.
But I was at a bar one time, a couple of years back. Me and one of my dudes, and we were outside, you know, burning the L. And one of my other guys, you know, associate more so, but I know him. He comes outside and he has a foil paper. And he's like, yo, y'all smoking whatever. So I'm like, we was about to hit him with the blunt. And he's like, no, I'm good. So he has a foil paper. He opens the foil paper and he has like, you know, he got cocaine lined up in his foil paper.
Right.
Immediately, I'm ready to move.
Right.
Like 1.2 seconds, I'm ready to go.
That's why I draw the line. No pun intended.
Yeah, that's it. You know, and he goes, hey, you guys, y'all want something? I'm like, nah, we good. And said, well, if y'all, you know, I know y'all didn't know I do this, but you know, if y'all know anybody, bum. I gave him extra 1.2, so now we're at 2.5.
Right.
And we just left him right there because that's not my scene. You see what I'm saying? That's not my thing. You know, you're not gonna hook me. Next thing you know, I'm Pookie from New Jack City.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's never, not a day. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing like that. When you are a man like myself and so many of us, I can't even let the doctor draw my blood properly.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Let alone, you know, on a health check, you know, let alone to let somebody inject something in me that's going to send me bananas.
Right. Yeah.
So that whole, you know, we're here in our time for a reason.
Right.
Because I would have been the square back then. I would have been the total square. Like, nah, if it ain't some weed or whatever, no. What's that?
Yo, I laugh now because I see dudes smoke a blunt by themselves, and I'm like, bro, at like 83, 84, yo, we used to yo, the joints used to be like this big.
The skinny. The bad skinny.
The joint used to be like this big. Cats used to be like,
and when it got down to this, it was called a roach.
Yes. Cats used to be like, hey, Uncle Freezy, man, I mean, it's a new day. What, you in prison? Like Uncle Freezy, what's wrong with the prison? I mean, you know,
these things that is so easy to get people addicted because everybody want to try. Yeah. Whether you're having good personal experiences or not, you know, you're in a party setting, you know, someone that's doing it that you respect or that you want to be in some form of relationship with, and here comes the pressure.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Here comes the nah, family. Nah. You know,
dude told me one time, man, ain't nothing wrong with Wooters. Yes, it is, man.
Yes, it is.
You crazy.
Like, you bananas. You're about to go tap dance on the ceiling somewhere.
You ain't gonna get me to
on like a 100-story. You're about to find the roof to go jumping off the roof because you want to pirouette.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gonna have me out here stealing car antennas? No.
Anything that's gonna get you like that, Freezy. Whether it's that, alcohol, you know, I've been drunk.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And will be again.
And will be again, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe not today, but will be again. But
Right.
if it's going to take you to a place that it can cost you your life or cost other people their lives, maybe you need to reassess that.
Or
And a lot of sports
or
athletes
livelihoods.
or
Or livelihoods.
livelihoods.
We've seen Knicks have their livelihoods ruined.
Okay.
Right?
Willis Reed's best draft pick is Sugar Ray Richardson, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Sugar Ray.
Yep.
That's his best draft pick.
Yep.
Had to get kicked out
Did
of the
he
league.
know he was gonna go down that road? No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. Because when he drafted him, he was wide-eyed, bushy tail
Right.
from out of Denver.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He was a mama's boy.
Yep.
But he brought him to a city in the late 70s that's going through all types of financial crisis.
Yep.
And everybody just wants to get high and having fun.
Escapism, yeah.
And escaping. And there's a disco, it seems like on every block.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all about so for a kid like that, who may, you know, Michael Ray he may be from a town that got 10,000 people.
Right.
Willis said the town he was from, the population was so small, they didn't know.
Right. Right.
That's how small the population was in the city from Louisiana, where he's from. They just didn't know how small it was.
Right.
So you bring a kid in like that, and they fire Willis. Because I've seen, you know, Michael Ray documentary where what ultimately helped to shift his life is the mentor, the male figure to help him kind of guide his professional relationship in sports as he's getting better. Because remember, Michael Ray could probably still play today at 60-something years old. Yes. He's just a prodigy. Michael Ray ran a win-aided 9.8.
Yes.
Or 9.7 something, you know, as like a high school senior or something like that. That's just how fast he was.
At 6'5".
At 6'5", you know, superior handle, whatever kind of movements you want around the basket, he could just do it to you. Ask Philly, defending champions. He sent them home in 1984.
Right. Right.
You know, but once he got his first touch, once they tapped the main vein, as they said, that was it for him.
That was it.
It was slow death.
Yeah. Yeah. So he wasn't the only one.
No, there's so many in those.
And to be told, and the one thing that we never made the direct correlation to is at the same time he was going through that, New York also had two other young stars that played different sports going through the same thing.
That the Mets did not know. I think, you know what? I'm not going to say the Mets did not know, because remember, these sports leagues have security.
Right.
They have their own Gestapo, excuse me, you know, forces that's out there lurking, that's going to the parties, that's going, you know, because you invest millions and millions and millions of dollars in these guys. You're not going to just let them go willy-nilly, but do you care?
Right.
Are they hurting the profit margin?
Right.
You know, nobody knew that the fans didn't know that Doc and Darryl was about to implode.
Right.
They got their championship out of it and was like, all right, cool, we good.
Right. And the thing about it too is it wasn't just Doc and them too. It was others.
But they were
like Keith Hernandez. The reason why the Mets got Keith Hernandez is because he had the drug issue.
Right. But he had long since stopped when he was in, you know, St. Louis, and
that's what he said. That's what
he said. Well, okay.
Yeah,
but we had
let's just assume what he said is true. I just assume what he said is true.
Let's take a man at his word, right? And plus, you know, he hadn't been caught for whatever since then at that moment in time. Right. But these young guys, they weren't listening.
No.
You had a frat house full of young guys, you know, a frat house full of old guys. You got Ray Knight, you know, you got Keith, you know, Carter, God rest the dead.
Yeah.
You know, you got all of these guys. What's my guy
You
that
got Len Dykstra.
the Lenny Dykstra? What's my guy that eventually became MVP with San Francisco? Mitchell.
Kevin Mitchell.
They basically traded Kevin Mitchell because they thought that Kevin Mitchell was the bad influence on Doc and Darryl, and that was totally the opposite.
Totally the opposite. Right. And they
Like,
were all young.
And they were all young.
Yep.
Okay. So, drugs in sports, it's still rampant today. It's just that it's not, maybe not as rampant because the testing and so forth. So, and there's a lot of masking for this, that, and the third, but it's a part of the life.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
I think David Stern
he cleaned it up.
I think David Stern had, because Michael Jordan said he walked into a hotel room and dudes, Michael Jordan said he walked into a hotel room when he was with the Bulls as a rookie, and everybody on the team was in a room playing cards, getting high, and he backed out because he had never seen anything like that before. He was like, "Where you going, Mike?" Nah, this ain't for me right here, bro.
Okay. He backs out. Lawrence Taylor goes in.
Another person in New York around that same time.
And that's no shot at LT.
Yeah,
shout I'm not LT, a Giant bro. Fan or whatever, but another New York God that, what you just described, Michael turns one way, LT turns the other way. And him turning the other way, it probably cost him. Could LT? That's a question. Could LT have been even greater if he wasn't, taking substances? He may have been even greater.
Yes,
it's hard to be better than what he was.
Yes, I had the same conversation about Bo Jackson. Would Bo Jackson have been a Hall of Famer if he focused on one sport?
I think so.
Oh.
I think so.
Oh my God. Regardless of which sport it was, right? If Bo Jackson, say, would have played baseball, man, I think numbers and stuff you would have never seen. Now, I know Bo Jackson struck out a lot, right?
Right.
But, man, he was a young player while he was working his way through that, right? Can you imagine Bo Jackson and Mark McGwire in the same league? Bo Jackson came out 2 years before Mark McGwire? But Canseco and him?
He comes out 87, I think, 87, something like that.
Who talking about Bo?
Bo shocked us.
Yeah.
When he said that he was going to play baseball and he was going to end up in Kansas City, I remember everybody was just shocked. But if you remember the entire backstory, because Bo went to Auburn.
Yep.
I think it was it the Sugar Bowl against Georgia that he's in? That if I'm mistaken, was it Alabama? Somebody, just refresh me a little bit. It might be Alabama in their championship game in the Sugar Bowl where they smacked him around.
No. That was okay.
The game I remember, they smacked him around, and the players were literally taunting him. And it was said that, he didn't want this life. That's why he went to baseball. I don't know how true it is because Bo was good at everything. Bo was good at archery.
Bo is good at everything, bro.
Everything. Tennis.
I saw Bo Jackson throw a baseball 370 feet and throw out Harold Reynolds at the plate on a dime.
Yes.
370 feet.
Yes. Bo ran a 4.19 before they even properly, checking the numbers and so forth. And he did it once.
Right.
Just came in and was like, all right, boom.
What else you need to see? I'm 225 pounds. I just ran a 4.19. What else you need to see?
Yeah.
Nothing, man. Have a good day.
One of those guys. But I remember that the media had painted him almost like a coward.
Yeah.
Almost like he was afraid to play in the NFL Because people, you know, back then, that's a difference. That's probably the difference between today and back then, where guys have the, you know, the right, and they take their career in their hands way more than the guys from back then.
Right.
Because a lot of guys could have been multiple sports athletes. Dave Winfield lettered in 3 different sports.
And Dave Winfield decided to be a right fielder instead of a pitcher. He could have pitched and still made the Hall of Fame.
Could have pitched, could have played basketball, could have played football. Dave Winfield was 6'7", 6'6", 6'7",
230, 6'6",
you know what I mean?
230. Good,
you know,
God,
just
man.
oddly, if you see him with that right-handed, he kind of like, it's like he was grinding the back kind of thing. You know, it's just hard. You know what I mean? Just really, really hard. And he played in the old Yankee Stadium, you know, before this, you know, this bean pie that they play in now. So a lot of guys could have actually done that. But for Bo, you know, Bo was just something special. You know, something really special. He could have been a Hall of Fame easily.
Yeah, but
I'd put him in Football Hall of Fame now. Doesn't matter. Why not?
I wanted to ask you this. We got about 20 or so minutes, like 25 minutes, right?
Okay.
Just real quick. One of my relatives asked me to ask y'all, since I dodged the question, what team is the Knicks' all-time rival? Like, what team? Because, and this is where it gets funny, right? Cats from Detroit say, our rivalries are the Pacers and somebody else in the Knicks. And I'm like, the Knicks? They're like, yeah. And these are older fans. They're like, yeah, the Knicks and the Pistons had a rivalry. And I was like, when?
Right.
He's like, don't act like that, man. Don't act like that. Because it started. Here's how it starts. 2 young teams in the early 80s. Both are soft finesse teams, right? Both go out, and Atlanta is in this category too, but they did it later.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams go out and trade for enforcers, so to speak. Right?
Right.
I can't remember the guy that they said was our enforcer, but it didn't sound familiar. I remember our enforcer being a dude named Truck Robinson. Right? But I remember Detroit trading like a second round pick. Wow, that sounds delicious, bro. Whatever that was.
Right.
But I remember Detroit trading for a guy, for 2 guys, right? They traded for the Cleveland Cavaliers backup center. Hey, do you know the dude? He played center. He won championships with them. The crazy white dude. Chat, y'all know who I'm talking about.
His name is skipping me. Right? I know you're talking about.
They traded for him. Bill Laimbeer. They trade for Bill Laimbeer.
Right.
And then a couple years later, or maybe a year later, they trade for a dude from the Washington Bullets named Rick Mahorn, who looked like he was every bit of 357 pounds.
He was out of shape when they first got him.
Yeah.
But he could play. He was a very good post defender.
Yeah, he was, and
I saw that man pull the chair on McHale.
Oh yeah,
I saw that man pull the chair on McHale, and McHale fell on his ass.
Yeah.
Literally, and McHale's on the best post offensive big men. What is it?
Top 5 easy. Top 5 easy. I'm thinking top 3.
Just incredible footwork, and he pulled the chair on McHale. Yeah. You know, shout out to what he was absolutely.
Yeah, I'm asking. The reason why I'm asking is because a lot of teams think they are Chicago think that the Knicks and the Knicks and Bulls have a rivalry.
You know what it is, Freezy?
I don't think so.
I think it's the generations. We are fortunate enough that we had 3 rivalries in the 90s.
Oh boy.
3.
Okay.
And if you really want to push it, you could say 4, because Charlotte never got over.
I was gonna say that
Charlotte
was a very
never got over the
rivalry.
smackings that we used to smack them around.
Yeah.
You know, but they were like on the outside. The Knicks had legitimate 3 rivalries in the 90s.
In the 90s.
The Bulls, Miami, and Indiana. And for each of those rivalries for different reasons. Miami, they took our coach.
Yeah. They were finesse. Remember how finesse they were?
They were
Bimbo Coles and
Ronnie Cycli.
Yeah, they was and Billy
Glenn
Owens.
Rice.
They were so finesse.
Baby Jordan. What was his name again? Baby
Harold
Jordan.
Miner.
Harold Miner. You know, Willie Burton from out of Minnesota.
Yeah.
They had so many misses. They had so many top 10, top 12 picks that they kept picking outside of Glenn Rice, right? They had so many picks in that late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
It was, you know, and for Indiana, it was they just mirrored us.
Yeah.
They mirrored us as far as their play, and not just their play, but their team construction.
Right.
You know, they had the Davis boys. We have Mason, Bonner, Oakley.
Yeah. We
got a multifaceted jump shooting / post center. They have a high post center that on certain days, Rick Smits could give you the business.
Yes.
You know, Act Shaq.
Yep.
Certain days he could give you the business. It wasn't consistent because he would, you know, you could count on him to foul out or to be in foul trouble, I should say. That's better. To be in foul trouble.
All right.
Plus, you know, they have they may have our all-time villain.
Who, Mark Jackson?
Reggie Miller.
Oh, Reggie Miller. Yeah, either one.
They may have our all-time villain.
I don't think they're a rival, bro. I think they may have been a rivalry for like a 5 or 6 year stretch, and then that's it. But in terms of Knicks history, they ain't nobody to us.
Well,
because after Reggie Miller retired, did Indiana games mean anything else to Knicks
fans? They sent Carmelo home. They sent a 54-win team home.
Yeah. I'm thinking one of our rivals is the Lakers.
Historically, yeah, but that's from the 70s. Because remember, we haven't really, you know, it's kind of like the league would have loved and still would at any moment in time for those two coasts to be in the finals,
to be good at the same time.
Right.
And so I don't want to say coast, bro. I want to say the Knicks and Lakers. Because if Brooklyn and the Clippers get good, ain't nobody watching that shit. You know what I'm saying?
But we know that's not happening.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to say, you know, get well soon, Paul George. Because although you're not on my team, I hate to see a player get injured.
Right.
Especially on such a freakish accident.
Yeah.
In a game where he was having an excellent game. That man did a windmill 360 from the side, Freezy. You hear me? Yeah. In the game. He did some Vince Carter shit.
Yep.
In the same game where he, whatever they call it, hyperextension, whatever.
Yeah,
he ain't come back this year.
Yeah, he
ain't. When I'm watching the highlights and they showed you him coming off the baseline and him double, boom, mama, woo,
right,
made me Hercules. I was like,
Hercules.
What was that? In game,
bro.
To see him get hurt, you know. But to your point, in Brooklyn, and you know, but we know that. But and someone told me, hold on, Freezy. Someone told me that they're doing a Brooklyn Nets podcast yesterday. That they do a Brooklyn Nets podcast. I'm like, how many followers you got? 6?
Yeah, and 5 of them start for Brooklyn. 5 of them start for the Nets.
This person tried to tell me, well, I was gonna share it with you. Right. Motherfucker, you didn't have to share that with me. I
Right.
don't need to know your
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nets affiliation.
Right.
I don't care.
That's like telling me about Puppy P. I don't want that.
You and your tie-dye uniforms, I don't care.
Yeah, man. And nobody, who cares about Brooklyn? But I was gonna say,
salute.
Hoodie Kev is in the building.
Jet
I
fan,
was
baby.
gonna, the thing about Knicks rivals, bro, is I think it's as simple as this: it's Lakers, Sixers, and Celtics. Everybody else is just like, you good at the same time we good. We have beef because people trying to tell me that the Atlanta Hawks are our rivals, bro. No.
But
That's one of them coincidences. We're good at the same time. Y'all good. We just scrambling for whatever. Nah, the Hawks ain't our rival.
Watching Butler punk Randall and the Knicks the other night. It did feel like old times.
It did feel like
old times. And someone who I trust in basketball circles called me up and they were like, "Oh, Knicks Miami." And I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to tell Freezy, Knicks Miami. We out there doing a live remote on the beach, baby. We gonna be in Cleveland doing a live remote.
Mo, cut the check.
Cut
it. Soon as we find out, it's us in Miami.
Absolutely. But Jimmy. I mean, that would be a nice series. That would be very hard for.
You said what? Oh, you talking about springtime in Miami? That would be nice.
Springtime in Miami. Yes.
Would that be nice for? I'm asking because
that would be excellent.
That would be a beautiful thing, right?
Absolutely. Okay. Right now, stop playing.
Yeah, especially coming off a winter in New York.
Woo! That would be absolutely, but I've always looked at them as a rival because, like many of us who come from that era, we still are salty as far as how Pat Riley left.
Right.
There's a lot of us, we reference him in conversation. You just heard me talk about this like half an hour ago, how he suspended Mason.
Is that Pat Riley's fault though? How he left?
No, it's not his fault how he left.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not his fault how he left because when you have something, it's like you having a free agent and you letting him get to free agency,
right? And
you wonder why he leaves you. Duh, you let him get to free agency,
right. And so the thing with Pat Riley, just want to say real quick. Hey man, he came here, he fulfilled his contract, he didn't renew, and he left. We could have kept him. You didn't even have to let it get to this point.
No. You just had to make the same tough decisions, and this goes to, I've heard Checkets talk about this. He said Riley wanted ownership. He was unable to give him ownership, which is basically why he bounced. I've heard Riley hinted on this a little bit, and he basically wanted Ernie Grunfeld out.
That's all.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah, that's
because if you notice,
because didn't Rick Pitino ask for the same thing?
Well, Pitino wanted them to when they hired Pitino wanted them to hire an athlete, kind of like what they have in college as an athletic director kind of thing.
Yeah.
We want him to hire like a guy that could, can handle, the business and whatever, and him still being
a World West.
Right, kind of thing. And him still being in charge while this guy goes and handles the business. He didn't want to be with the Yankees. It's the same deal.
Right.
But as the Knicks got better, remember, Riley comes in as coach, and as coach you bring in what I want. That's what I bring to the table.
Basically.
Right? But as they got better, he went from, his titles changed. He went from coach / general manager. Then they kind of veered with Grunfeld a little bit.
Right.
Checkets becomes garden president. So Grunfeld becomes like Knicks president. Riley's now coach / GM. Everybody gets a bump,
Right.
kind of sort of as they're getting better. He wants them to do away with Grunfeld
Team president.
and me and check it's on
Garden
par.
president. Yeah.
Right. So I don't have to answer to you. I'm only going to answer to the board, kind of thing.
Right.
Plus, I need a couple of shares.
And then plus, it wasn't totally that he disliked the guy, but from what I gathered with Pat Riley was it's the red tape factor.
Well,
right. Every time something happened, you got to go through 9 people. That's what I thought it was.
I heard a story that he was such a stickler from everyone down, like even favorite colors.
Right.
He said that Grunfeld's wife bought a car that had an ugly color. I was like, yo, why's your wife buying this?
Right.
Like, tell your wife to get rid of that.
Right.
Like, are you gonna tell me what to tell my wife? No. You know what? Because
a fight right there.
His thing is we're all in this together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like your wife can't be out here wearing Laker colors. You know what I'm saying? While this is orange and blue.
Orange and blue. Right.
What's your wife doing buying a green? I think it was green. I think it was his wife bought a green car or something like that. And that was kind of like, like a running rift with him and Grunfeld. But he wanted Grunfeld out. He was making a power play, and he wanted to make more changes.
And I think we should have let him do it. He did it in Miami.
Of course, because the team, remember that team, when they lose to Indiana in 95 off of the finger roll and whatever, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, Pat Legs was shot.
Right?
Yeah.
And you see Riley as he's walking in the tunnel, and he does like a kind of like a deep breath kind of thing.
Yeah.
He realized that team went as far as it could go.
Right.
That team needed an infusion of new youth, whether it's youth or just new.
Right.
They needed to come back with something other than what they left with. Yep. And in whatever chance meeting he had with the Miami's owner, because there's always we didn't tamper. It just happened to. Then how did you get this contract so fast?
Yeah, how did you get this contract so fast? How do you announce your resignation by fax one day and you're the team president the next day?
You got a 7-year deal the next day.
Right.
Which at that time the money was unheard of.
Right.
At that time. So to that, I don't blame him. At the time, I blamed him because I remember my friend driving to my house that day, and he was like, yo, turn on the fan.
Oh boy.
He was like, turn on the fan. And me and him like we didn't go in the house, we went to his car.
Right.
And he's driving like his daddy's white Plymouth. Shout out to Mr. Phillips, rest in peace.
Right.
It's white Plymouth. And we go into the car, and it was a Buick, right?
Right.
And we're like, did he resign? Resigns by fax. And when he came back to the Garden that first time, to his credit, he went out center stage, and he took his booze.
Yeah.
He went out to the middle of the court because he had heard what was going on, because we loved him.
Right.
We loved the credibility that he brought to the organization. With him here,
and he from New York, right?
Yes, with him here, you knew you were going to be fighting for the championship every year, even if you did not win it, because that's what he demanded.
And he brought a level of cachet from the previous place where if he said something, it meant something. So for that reason, we backed Pat Riley, and then plus also with Pat Riley here, we found a ton of dudes off the scrap heap, bro. We found a bunch of dudes that should have been bagging groceries, and they wound up being key contributors.
Yeah, right. I mean, he just, to his discredit, the league would start to change right around 2000.
Right.
Right. He still had the kind of like that bump and grind, rough and
Right.
kind of
Tibbs.
mentality.
Yeah, Tibbs. Yeah.
Right. Kind of mentality. But it worked for him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? He eventually had to kind of veer a little bit, in his orchestration, but his mentality was just, we're gonna win. Period.
Right.
And we're going to chase. The man said it's winning or misery.
Right. Yep. Well, let me ask you this: better defensive mind, Pat Riley or Casey Jones?
I think Casey Jones, tactician wise, Casey Jones. Riley was more so on effort.
Okay.
Riley was much more, effort, and you're gonna play hard, you're gonna practice hard. That's another thing. Pat Riley would, he believed in the practice.
Right.
He's one of those guys that believed in the two-a-days.
Right.
And professional athletes, you can't push him that hard. But in order to play for him in those times, he consistently kept finding motivation, for new motivation. When the Lakers won it in 88,
right.
or 88, right, 88,
87.
he stands there and he goes, and I guarantee you we're going to win it again next year. No one hadn't gone back to back in like 20 since the Celtics.
Yeah.
It was unheard of to go back to back.
Yeah.
Right? And he stands there, I guarantee you we're going to do it again next year.
So he did that in 87. They won it in 88. The Pistons beat the Lakers in 89, and they beat the Blazers in 90. Right? Yeah. So I'm with you. My thing is with Pat Riley and with the Knicks. The reason why I asked you these things is these things define our identity, from Willis Reed coming out the tunnel to Pat Riley. Defense is everything. You know what I'm saying? All these things defined who the modern Knicks are. And right now, I'm here to tell you that the Knicks don't have an identity. And the reason why is because even though Tibbs has done a fantastic job turning this team around, he doesn't have a thing to stand on.
You don't have a thing.
He can't show you rings.
Because it's not just about rings, but it's who you with.
Right.
Who's the guy that you want for everyone to model their game after? They're going to follow. And this is their problem. Like, we going back to our earlier conversation. And I've been saying this over the month. Mind you, MSG premieres the Brunsons. I was the first person to say that, right?
Bim. Yeah.
That the new power MSG. Now you see Rick and Son, having dinner, talking about their relationship to basketball and so forth. It's just the start. I'm gonna help you, Randall stands out. Okay? You ain't seeing Randall and his mom being featured nowhere. Right. The new power at the Garden is the Brunsons. And it better be the Brunsons. You better align your caboose to Jalen Brunson, okay? And the way he plays, okay? And get him a true co-star. Okay? Not someone that every March there's a problem.
Where do you get that star from?
Freezy, if I knew Freezy, I would,
because the attainable stars play the same position as Brunson. Like, you can go out and get a point guard, bro.
Would you go out and someone brought up these two names, and I'm gonna add a name. They brought up Bradley Beal, and I said, nah, stop it.
No.
Stop it. I don't want no part of him. Okay?
No. Nope.
Kuzma. Would you take a chance on Kuzma in free agency?
I think he's too old.
Okay. Here's another name. Would you take a chance and I look at him similar to Bradley Beal, but because I think his game is so excellent, and I've had my issues with him, would you take a chance on Dame?
No, he's too old.
32.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
32.
Right.
I think he's averaging like 31, 32.
Right. Yep.
You know, if he, let's say he wanted to finally leave Portland, and he was willing to do the Aaron Rodgers thing and give you an ear and sit down with you, and Portland gave you permission to talk to him.
Okay.
Okay, can you put that backcourt together, Brunson and Dame?
No.
Okay.
The reason, and it's not because of his age either. It's because of when his new salary kicks in. Because I think he's going to make like 59 something million and then 61 something million. So in order for you to even match that with both teams being over the cap, now you got to trade a bunch of salary filler. And what that does is it just gives you Dame and Brunson. You know what I'm saying? That would be 26 plus 60. That's $87 million with 33 million left under the cap to fill 12 spots.
Okay, Freezy. All right. However you're gonna do it, Freezy, you have to be creative. I spoke a lot about OG Anunoby during this past season.
Right.
I got a lot of pushback. Okay.
Right.
But here's the thing. I'm like, first of all, he's an excellent ball player, two-way ball, the kind of ball player that we're, and for a lesser extent, that we see that Josh Hart brings to the game, a certain kind of tenacity. If not him, then as you asked me, then who?
I'm looking at if we're talking about building a sustainable championship contender.
No, 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 no. Let's not go to sustainable first.
Okay.
Let's get there, then talk about sustainability.
Okay. All right. So you want to win a championship first and then see if you can repeat. Okay. All right. So if that's
repeating, if I can't win the first.
All right. So if that's the case, then yeah, Bradley Beal's in play. Kyle Kuzma is in play. Damian Lillard is in play. Everybody's in play. If you're just talking about like a 2 or 3 year window.
Freezy, we haven't won. This is the 50th year anniversary, Freezy.
I know.
At some point in time, and for those of you who are going to, and you know what, I know y'all out there who want to talk that the plan and the Gardens had this plan all along. Miss me with that.
You know,
okay? Miss me with that. Okay, I get me there. Get me in the building. I'll worry about that after.
Yeah, let me clarify that when I say Kyle Kuzma is too old, I know Kyle Kuzma is a young player.
Right.
I know Kyle Kuzma is not old like Dame. I know that. I understand that. I know that. Understand that. But I'm saying for this exercise, what do you do? Basically, what I'm telling you is if that, and not you, AD, what I'm saying is in general, basically, I think if you're building a championship contender, Jalen Brunson has to be the oldest piece and leader. Everybody else that you bring in my opinion, has to be younger or the same age as Brunson. And then that way it could be sustainable over the course of years where you don't have to replace and all this stuff with certain players, right? What I'm saying is if you Brunson turned 26 on September 7th, right? Or September 6th, right? Him and Donovan Mitchell are the same age. They're only 1 week apart on their birthdays, right? So if you told me that you can get Donovan Mitchell, right, then I'd have been like, okay, because they're similar. They're similar in age, and they can play off of each other. And then you can add another guy that's similar to them in age. Because think about this. Think about this. When the Lakers and Celtics were winning championships, the only real old man was Kareem. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Michael Cooper was in the what's the 79 draft?
Kareem McAdoo was at the tail end.
Right, but not Byron Scott. Byron Scott was drafted in
everybody
80.
else was young.
Yeah.
Rambis
Right. Fresh legs with magic so they can
right.
get out and run. Right. Say the thing with Bird and Danny. The Danny Ainge thing is funny because Danny Ainge got mad at his manager in baseball and quit baseball and just he quit.
He made a good decision.
He made a good decision. Yeah, he made a good decision. Yeah. But what I'm getting at is the Celtics understand it. I just think, and I know they didn't win a championship, right? But I think the Orlando Magic model, either that model where it was Shaq and Penny, or the Shaq and Kobe model is the best way to go. Like try to get dudes that's similar in age and put pieces around them together, as opposed to Bill being whatever age he is and Brunson being 6 years younger, and then. You get what I'm saying? Like, I just think you got to build a championship together.
I feel what you're saying, but here's the thing, Freezy. We're not all equally yoked. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? You ever meet somebody that's a Bible thumper? And no disrespect to my religious people and so forth, and because I've met so many over the years. We gotta be equally yoked,
right?
Something like that. But I'm like, baby, I'm not there with you.
Right.
I'm not saying I can't get there with you.
Right.
At some point in time, but you got to paint a picture for what you think equally yoked is. In this case scenario, you remember those early Clippers teams that they had all these young guys?
Yeah.
Richardson doing this to their foreheads.
You're right. They had young guys. They didn't have young stars.
But when they drafted them, remember they had Livingston before he breaks his leg like 2-3 times, right?
Right.
They had all these young pieces that it seemed like they're equally yoked because they're all the same age and moving around, but winning don't mean the same to them in this yoked argument. You may have perfect case in point. Doc could not win without Moses.
Right.
They had knocked on the door several times.
And Cunningham, and Andrew Toney, and
Andrew Toney, but they needed fo. And he was already, Doc is what? At that, when they win, Doc is 32, 33.
32, yeah.
Moses is what? 29? Something like that?
Yeah.
28, 29, somewhere in there. Somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
They needed, it's not the age per se, it's, who is hungry for that.
The chat keep talking about Kyle Kuzma. Is Kyle Kuzma a star, bro?
No, but
Kyle
what?
Kuzma ain't no star. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand the Kyle Kuzma thing.
He's an ascending wing that's gotten better.
Yeah. So is Jeremy Grant.
I like Jeremy Grant 2 years ago. I thought the Knicks should have really made a push for him 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma ain't a star, for fit's sake. You see what I'm saying? For fit's sake. The bottom line is, Freezy, the head of the snake can't keep going off the rails against Orlando. You got Pablo Banchero punking him.
Yep.
And I love Pablo. But when does a second-year player get to come in talking all this trash and giving it and backing it up? And you tight. You tight because you don't get a couple of calls. This is the NBA. I have somebody said to me yesterday, the Knicks not getting any calls. If they called every damn foul, it'd take 4 hours to complete a game.
The score would be 300 to 297 if everybody got the free throws they wanted.
Okay? Everybody would shoot free throws if referees didn't turn their backs sometimes. Right? Literally, referees got to literally turn their backs in order to keep the flow of the game. Because why? Everything is a business. There's a commercial coming up. Okay? Some of you, use your brains. Okay? There's a commercial coming up. These ad people that pay millions and millions of dollars, they want their damn commercial during the game. So the game has to flow.
Right. I would say this to your Brunson takeover, right? The Brunson takeover, what I would say is you got to get, if that's the route you're saying, then for people like me that think Grimes is going to be a great player in 2 years, we have to come to the realization that we can't wait on Grimes, and we got to get a dynamic player in the backcourt with Brunson right away.
So be it.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I would rather wait on Grimes.
It depends on who we're talking about, Freezy. If you're telling me, because here's what's going to be the new narrative that's going to come up, and it's going to come up in about 3 months. Okay, Knicks nor Cleveland is going to win the championship this year.
Okay,
I hope they do. Of course, because I'm still rooting. Okay. He has one more year after this year on his contract, being Donovan Mitchell. All you're going to hear is Donovan 2025. Donovan 2024. Donovan, they're going to outright sign him. Okay?
Yeah, but
nothing is going to be able to stop them from signing him.
But that's what Knicks fans and Jets fans do. Like, oh my God, Reggie White is going to be a free agent in 2.5 years.
But why you got to do that?
Ain't coming to the Jets, man.
But why you got to do that? Why you got to put the Jets right there?
Oh my God,
you got to take that unnecessary
Aaron Rodgers might be a Jet. Man, the Jets?
You better understand yourself.
The Jets.
Okay?
If the Jets were the Yankees,
baby. Aaron and Sauce, baby. Okay, Aaron and Sauce is about to what?
Y'all about to sign? There is man. Listen, I feel sorry for Garrett Wilson because the Jets are trying to sign Odell Beckham. So you try? How many receivers do you need?
We need them all. Jerry Rice, come suit up.
Right.
Need them all.
And if you were a fan of Garrett Wilson, you are going to struggle because Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to who he wants to throw to. He's going
to throw to who's open. He's going to throw to who can catch. He's going to throw to who wants it. He's going to throw. You know what he's going to do? He's going to do what Warren Moon did to Chris Carter when Warren Moon got to Minnesota in the huddle. Warren Moon said, I heard that this guy was a big talker, right? So the first time he was in the huddle, Chris Carter was like, yo, you better talk me the ball. Warren Moon said, shut up.
Yep. I remember that. Get him. Hey, you remember that waving to the sideline? Get him out the huddle. This is Chris Carter. Yeah.
Right? Because he had to come in and do what? I'm the quarterback. I'm the guy, not you. Right. See what I'm saying? I throw, you catch.
Right.
That's how this works. You see what I'm saying? When you have that kind of elder statesman who is one of the greatest players that this league has ever seen, this is what happened. So you can take your nasty cheap shots at the Jets all you want.
A Jets receiver is only good for 3 years and then they fall off.
That's the average of a player's life in the NFL. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, like Jerry Rice. Yeah,
it hasn't changed since the beginning of time.
Yeah,
the average NFL lifespan is 3 years. It has not changed. It's like clockwork. It has not changed.
Right.
Sure. So, what next? Where are we next, sir? You got me, dude. Hold on.
The Jets suck, bro. I mean, that's what we have.
I'm just not gonna with your nonsense. You're a hater.
So basically, Garrett Wilson has 2 more. Y'all have 2 more years of Garrett Wilson, and then he'll be a bum. His history tells us that.
Where did we get all this hate? Is Hoodie Kev side texting you? Is that what this is? Are you talking to me via Hoodie Kev? Is that what's going on here?
No, Hoodie Kev is a delusional Giants fan. Hoodie Kev loves the Giants, and I think his other team.
The man has pictures. The man has his emoji with him in jet gear. The Jet fan. Hoodie Kev, chime in. What do you
Is that
got?
is
That's
is
jet
that
gear
jet?
he got on.
I couldn't tell because it's
That's
jet.
jet gear he got on, sir. That's
Oh,
green,
okay.
baby.
Okay, that must be from the Mo Lewis era. Mo Lewis and
Aaron Glenn.
yeah, Aaron Glenn. That's
I've
from the
lived through
Aaron
those
Glenn
years.
era. That's
Oh my
when the Jets were
God.
wearing those rec department uniforms when the Dolphins used to beat the how
Dude,
did the Jets
the,
how did the
yo,
Jets lose to the Dolphins any
the
type of way
the
imaginable all the
Dolphins
time?
beat us on a spot, mind you. We're beating them up and down the field that day.
Right.
Johnny Mitchell, the tight end that we had drafted that the previous year, I think he had like 200 yards or 100 and something yards up into that. We're beating them up and down, and then the third quarter came,
Right.
and then the fourth quarter came, and they're slowly losing it. It's like
Yeah.
what they say, what the sands out of the hourglass of time, and they're slowly zapping their strength. And Aaron Glenn the whole Jet team gets fooled by the fake spike.
Yes.
I go to work the next day. I was working at this wholesale place, and I snuck into work. Back then I took sports really difficult. A loss was like a funeral for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get to work. I don't want to talk to nobody. I got on my steel toe shoes. I'm in a warehouse somewhere. I'm kicking holes in the cement, all types of shit. You know what I mean? I'm doing the most. All of a sudden, my supervisor was a cool dude at the time, Mike McGowan, former Jets, right? So he was my supervisor at the time. The man gets on the intercom, which went around the entire building.
Right.
And the entire building freezing. And I just want to say to your New York Jet fans and the leader of it, Anthony Dunn, mind you, this is the middle of the workday.
Yeah.
And he shitted all over the Jets.
I thought that's what everybody did, bro.
I thought I was going to quit. I thought I was going, and the man laughed. I thought I was going to quit that day because I was ready to fight.
AD, but listen, when just bear with me real quick. Other franchises have stuff like the Gatorade bath, right? Where an all-time great takes the Gatorade and dumps it on, or they have a thing called the Super Bowl Shuffle. You know what I'm saying? They have their own song, or they have the Immaculate Reception, right? When we think about the Jets, we think butt fumble.
No, you think that.
Yeah, no.
I think Joe Willie walking off in Joe Robbie Stadium holding up number one finger.
No, you think
as we beat the Baltimore Colts.
NFL fans think butt fumble, bro.
Well, I don't give a damn. In the words of
NFL fans
I don't
think
care.
fake spike.
Okay, I think Broadway Joe, baby.
They think NFL fans.
I think Broadway Joe on live TV telling some woman that he wants to kiss her on live TV on Monday night.
That classic Jet sloppy
Joe was drunk as fuck that day. Joe Lee, there was at halftime. I can't remember what's the name of the girl. What's her name? Katie Cobra or something like that?
Yes, yeah.
Joe leans in. I don't care about the team. I will kiss you.
Bro smell like Bacardi.
Excuse me. That's Johnny Walker, baby.
I'm sorry.
Johnny Walker for Joe. Johnny Walker for Joe. I'm like, Joe, what are you doing? Hey, Joe, what's going on here?
Bro smell like Evan Williams.
I was like, I don't give a damn about the team. I want to kiss you, Joe Rose.
Yo, you think about when you think about the Jets, you think about Sean Green needs half a yard in order to clinch the division, and he get 3 chances against the Patriots D and get stopped. 3 chances to get half a yard.
You're a scorned Bear fan. I get it. You haven't been relevant since the Super Bowl Shuffle. You haven't been relevant since William Refrigerator Perry.
Who is the like for instance the most famous offensive player in Jets history outside of Joe Namath?
It's Joe Willie, baby.
Outside of Joe Namath, who played in the 60s, who was a terrible quarterback, by the way. But
Goes in the Hall of Fame.
man, you look at Joe Namath numbers, bro.
Doesn't
I
matter.
remember Joe Namath was terrible.
Joe won the most important. He won the most important game in NFL history.
So did Trent Dilfer.
No, Joe's the reason why the league merged.
Oh, okay.
Joe won the most important game in NFL history. And I don't care what them people say. And remember, it's on his back. Okay, it's attached to the AFC, which the leader and the winner of the AFC Championship game, which was between the Jets and the Raiders in 1968.
Right. Darryl LaMonica.
When we beat them in Shea Stadium, okay?
Right.
We beat them in Shea Stadium, alrighty? Before my time, but I know the history quite well. Watch yourself, buddy.
Who had better quarterbacks? Respect. Who had better quarterbacks all time? Y'all or the Raiders? Because I remember Darryl LaMonica. Man, Darryl LaMonica could throw that thing, man.
The Raiders had Kenny Stabler.
Yeah, and the Raiders had Kenny Stabler also.
Raiders had Kenny Stabler.
They had Jim Plunkett.
Jim Plunkett.
Yeah.
Remember Jim Plunkett was a bust.
Yes.
Jim
with the Patriots.
Bust with the Patriots.
With the Patriots.
He finds new life. That's what Al Davis used to do back then. Al Davis used to just pluck anybody. Al Davis was the first dude who did like
Tom Flores. Remember Tom Flores? Remember
Tom Flores, but Al Davis was the kind of dude that he would literally tamper with your team.
Yeah.
While on the field, in your face.
That's how he got the corner. Mike, what's the name? Played his whole career with the Patriots. And then Al Davis was like, hey, you want to make some money and win a championship? And next thing you know, he a Raider.
Like literally. That was the kind of dude Al Davis was.
Right.
Al moved this team. Al was such a maverick. And it probably took a lot out of his life, the fight that he had with the NFL with him and Pete Rozelle. Because the league was like, no, you can't move. You can't move unless the league says you can move. Because nobody was doing that outside of Dallas. Because remember, Dallas had came from, what is it? Dallas that came from, was it Arkansas?
Kansas City?
I'm sorry, Kansas City. Right. Kansas City comes from, was like, yeah. So outside of the league giving you, you have to have league approval. Right. And Al was like, look, I need a new stadium.
Right.
I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like the Colts leaving in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that was slimy too, by the way.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Dude.
What franchise has had worse quarterback play than the Jets, bro?
There's a lot. Stop it.
Nah,
There's
man.
a lot.
Come on, man.
There's a lot. Stop it. You remember the Saints? You remember how bad the Saints were? You remember how bad Archie Manning was with them? They used to wear paper bags over their heads.
Yeah.
That's how bad they with the Aints.
Yeah.
Remember how bad the Colts were?
Yeah.
The Rams with Jim Ferragamo.
I remember Ferragamo. Ferragamo could throw a football through a brick wall, but he had zero touch. He was Cam Newton type arm, bro. Zero touch.
There's a lot of dudes. There's a lot of guys that have had bad quarterback play over there because the quarterback, picking a quarterback isn't easy for you. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. If it was, every team would have had a star quarterback right now.
I think the most famous Jets offensive player is Emerson Boozer, who I love. I loved Emerson Boozer.
Well, I wish Emerson still loved us because Emerson refused to come back. He refused to come back to a game, to a function.
Yeah.
The last time they contacted that man hung up on them like, "Don't call me ever again."
Yeah.
Emerson like 80. Is Emerson still? Emerson like 80, so. 81 now. Like,
yeah.
I'm good.
Freeman McNeil, Altoon, Freeman McNeil. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah.
Like
the Jets had some good talent over the years.
Like they just bad management.
Yeah, they just don't stay good with the Jets.
They had a coach that Joe Walton.
Oh.
I mean, they used to have like fire Joe chants. It was so bad that
fire Joe t-shirts on.
Yeah, the owner Leon Hess was a Joe Walton fan because back then you didn't just fire coaches like that.
Nah.
You didn't fire a coach after 1 year unless he was. What's my guy that used to coach Notre Dame? He coached for the Jets for like 14 games and he quit. What is his name? His name is skipping me right now. Oh God, he was Notre Dame's big coach in the 80s and so forth. Oh yeah, I can see his face. But in any event,
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. late 80s. He was there.
I know. I
Yeah,
just can't remember his name.
Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz. That's his name. That's him.
He was a
That's
Jets
him.
coach. I think he was like 1-13 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he quits, or he's pushed out. But coaches, you didn't just get him up and out like that.
Who's a better franchise, the Jets or the Redskins, or the Commanders?
The Redskins. The Redskins, because they had a dominant.
But who's
dominant
better,
decade.
the Jets or the Buffalo Bills?
The Jets.
Better than the Buffalo Bills.
Historically, the Jets. They are. Buffalo gets there 4 times, but
wait a minute. So who has a better quarterback all time? Jim Kelly or Joe Namath? I'm taking Jim Kelly.
Joe Namath has a
running backs. Am I taking Emerson Boozer, John Riggins, or Curtis Martin, or O.J. Simpson and Thurman Thomas?
O.J. Simpson and Thurman Thomas. Think about this. Think about this for a second. O.J. Simpson never played on a winning team. Think about that. Even his 2,000-yard season, they were a team.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
They were
so
terrible.
all of that was just his own individual accolades.
Yeah.
Why do we do this?
Because
why do you force me to shit on other people's franchises?
No, I'm just trying to figure out. I just want to establish a baseline with the Jets.
Because I can. I will.
I just want to establish a baseline with the Jets. Like how good are the No. There is great football being played in New York right now.
Yes, right now, yes.
Right now, right?
Salute to Giant fans.
And salute to the Giants fans, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Salute to y'all. Salute to the Giants, man. The Giants seem like they're doing everything, like they're on the right track. But the Jets are begging a dude that's contemplating retirement to come save their franchise.
When you're desperate, at times, just like how we talk about the Knicks, at some point in time, Freezy, you have to push your chips in the middle.
Yeah.
You have to go for it. You can't keep on, we could have signed Derek Carr because
or
we
trade for Lamar Jackson.
We could have used. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Right.
The Lamar piece, because Lamar was 1A for me, because he's just 25, 26 years old and an utter superstar.
And okay? Jets fans would be like, nah, man, we don't want a former league MVP that's not even 30 yet.
They want what they want to do, like so many guys, the same thing like the Donovan Mitchell thing. Nobody wants to give up something for something. Right? Everybody wants something for free.
Right.
Because you think you're going to be able to use their draft picks. They're draft picks.
Right.
That means they're an unknown commodity.
And I understand.
You don't know what they can be.
Historically, are the Jets better than any team in their division currently? Are they better than the Dolphins? No. Are they better than the Patriots? No. Are they better than Buffalo?
Dolphins?
No.
Yeah. Dolphins?
No, not historically.
Dolphins run is in the 70s.
No,
Dolphins really and truly, their run is in the 70s.
Really?
Even with Marino. Marino gets there that one time. It was all about Marino from there on in.
Okay.
Because they could never get a running game.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They could never get it, even when they got Jimmy Johnson. When they got Jimmy Johnson wanted Dan Marino out of there so bad. But because Dan Marino was fully entrenched in Miami, right? He could not remove the foundation. Right. And then 2 years later, when he retires, Jimmy then goes on to his boat.
Yeah, he retired too. Yeah.
And he retires too.
But let me do this real quick because I got to get out of here. For conversations like this, if y'all enjoy stuff like this, I'm working on a joint that if I could ever get the thing fixed, like me and that with the thing that had me and AD late. Once I get that fixed up, man, we're gonna have a lot of dope shows doing having conversations like this. Not here on Lawrence Tears, but on other.
Freezy, you froze, but stay with us. As Freezy was saying, we have a lot of new dope content coming and so forth. You know what I mean? So as we about to wrap, because I don't know where the journey started, but I know where it ended with you, the fans, yet again. Freezy, take us out of here. Look for us in the whirlwind, baby.
Bim.
Garvey, stop it.
Peace.